Good. What's up, guys? Today I'm bringing you the Phoenix Solrocks versus Cambuur Zygarden match. The week 3 opponent, it's my week 3 opponent, and at this point I've already played him. I played him yesterday night. It was this time not even due to my lack of time. I did have a lack of time, but I was capable of battling him before the deadline. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to battle me before that. And he wasn't able to battle me on Saturday either, so just Sunday evening for me was the only time for him, or actually Sunday night was the only time for him to battle Sunday evening, so it was earlier than I expected. And that kinda comes into play because basically I had sports all day yesterday, from 12 in the midday to like 6:30-ish. I sported full non-stop, well, with some breaks, but that's of course why I'm sunburned. You might be able to see it, so you can't really see my arms, but they're sunburned as well, so I'm still sunburned. And yeah, that's because I was out all day yesterday in sporting and shit. And usually, like I said, I won with the sports, so usually what happens after that sporting thing is over, then we do another sport, and the other sport we do is the drinking game. So basically, yeah, I had to consume, well, not had to consume alcohol, I chose to consume alcohol until at least for a few drinks, and yeah, then went home, and home was a barbecue party-ish waiting for me, just family, a small group of people actually, but still, at a barbecue I cannot go without any alcohol either. Well, I say cannot, of course I can, but I chose not to because it's common courtesy to drink alcohol at a party. I guess that's my excuse. But yeah, so we were done like 9:30 in the evening, and about 15 minutes later, my opponent, Red Jam from the Phoenix Solrocks, hit me up asking if I was able to battle him. And yeah, I was feeling pretty confident. Usually I do not battle when I'm under influence of alcohol because I tend to not make the best plays. And that's also what happens this game, because I chose this time to battle him while having slightly, while being slightly under influence of alcohol, making semi-optimal plays, I guess. So no spoilers, of course, but those were some spoilers. So yeah, this is the team, this is the explanation just beforehand to what you will see in the game. Anyway, his team he's bringing this time around is Mega Venusaur, at least not the team he's bringing, but the mods he has on his team that he can potentially bring to the game. Mega Venusaur, Rotom Heat, Hydreigon, Gliscor, Froaches, Variegator, Metagross, Mega Bayonet, Shenmue, and Hitmonchan. Basically what I expected him to bring: Mega Venusaur because it's a Mega Venusaur, Hydreigon because Hydreigon is the only check to my Mew set I'm bringing, and my Kyurem because Hydreigon is the fastest Mew on his team. Yep, that's a huge flaw in his hand. Also, something I noticed is that Gliscor is his only defogger except for the Rapid Spin on Hitmonchan. But Hitmonchan is really bad against my team, I feel. It's somewhat useful against Kyurem and maybe Absol, but other than that it's trash. And yeah, Gliscor has to not be toxic heal if he wants to bring the defog on Gliscor. So basically that's also something I noticed, and his Stealth Rocks are Gliscor and Metagross, so quite a few options for those. So yeah, that's why I figured he would bring Hydreigon. Also predicted him to bring Florges because Florges is pretty nice against usually the most stuff on my team that's especially offensive. So yeah, I figured that Florges would be a thing. Figured that Variegator would be a thing because Variegator is actually a pretty big threat to my team, except for against the Tangrowth. But yeah, I didn't bring Tangrowth this game. Also, the Mawile could have probably dealt with it, but it does get EQ and stuff. Next up is Metagross, which I expected him to bring because Metagross is actually really useful against my team. It can hit up my Archeops with the Bullet Punches, it can hit up my Kyurem with the Meteor Mash or Bullet Punch. It's bulky enough to live a hit, but yeah. Also, it can be some shenanigans with Agility, which could well, be pretty fucking annoying to my team, or be, I don't know, Assault Vest Bandit, Scarfed even. So, and last but not least, I predicted him to bring Chandelure, because Chandelure was one more mon that could deal with my Mew. Not necessarily best counter / deal, because I was prepared to face Chandelure. Not necessarily with Mew, but with the rest of my team. But I did expect it to bring Chandelure just to deal with Mew a bit better and not just rely on the Hydreigon, because Mew can easily deal with Hydreigon if my set is built that way. So yeah, I also figured that he could bring Gliscor as a potential defogger, and just as a ground type, and just for being pretty decent, good in general, and also balling my Cobalion, and you know, for those obvious reasons. And also I expected him to possibly bring Rotom Heat, since Rotom Heat is actually a pretty decent mon against my team, except for against the Lantern basically, and against I don't know, especially defensive Mew, especially defensive Nidoqueen. But I figured that if he was gonna bring a Rotom Heat, he would bring a Scarfon, basically capable of outspeeding Arceus, outspeeding Manaphy, outspeeding Kyurem Black, outspeeding Cobalion, Absol, Mismagius, and being able to trick Scarf the Lantern basically. So yeah, that's if he's bringing the Rotom Heat, I know it's gonna be a Scarf more than likely. So yeah, that's basically the team I expected him to bring. And quickly onto the team I prepared for him. So onto my team. Kyurem Black is the mon that was dealing with this whole team basically. The only thing on his team that dealt with my Kyurem Black was either Allure, which I expected him to kinda bring because Kyurem Black was such a big threat to his team, and Hydreigon, because Hydreigon is the only thing on his team that outspeeds this naturally, and also no Scrubbers on his team were able to just guarantee an OHKO on me. So I expected him to bring a Scarfed mon that could potentially trick me a Scarfed and cripple me somehow, or bring a Lure set to beat my Kyurem with. And like I said, the Hydreigon. Yeah, every time basically Hydreigon comes in, it is almost guaranteed to kill. It almost is. He does have, he can play around it. I mean, I'm not gonna overpredict because I do not want to lose Kyurem Black. Plus it's bulky enough to live many hits, so I do not always need to predict. But let's say he predicts my Ice Beam goes into Florges, and then predicts the Iron Head and goes into Rotom Heat for a safe switch, and he Scarfed Rotom Heat. Then, while playing on his end, he avoided getting killed by Kyurem Black for one, at least the first time he faces it. But yeah. Also, like I said, if he does predict the Iron Head and he has Barberry Berry on Florges, that's a Lure, and he might be able to take him down. So I expect him to bring some type of mon could lure my Kyurem Black, since like I said, it's a huge threat to his team. I will quickly show his team again. Mega Venusaur does over 90% to him. Rotom Heat, Earth Power because the Terravolt ability, Hydreigon Ice Beam so it's not a switch, and Gliscor Ice Beam, Florges Iron Head, Fusion Bolt for Feraligatr. It doesn't even need any attack investment to do over 95% to Feraligatr. Metagross is bulky enough to take a hit. Mega Bayonet might be able to take a hit, it's bulkier than I expected, but it's not gonna like it, and even with Stealth Rocks it's most definitely gonna die rather sooner than later, and it's not a counter. So Chandelure dies, and Hypogen is capable of living hits, but just one if it's Assault Vest. Even if it's not Assault, it can still live the hit, but yeah, it's not a counter necessarily. So yeah, that's basically the Kyurem Black set I brought, and I figured that this was gonna do a whole bunch of damage to his team, and especially since it can just double out into Kyurem Black and hit him up with one of my moves that just deal with his team. Next up is Manaphy, and Manaphy is my win condition-ish, since Manaphy is a Select Berry Tail Glow Dazzling Psychic Scald set. Basically, after one Tail Glow, I KO many things in his team. After two Tail Glows, I KO everything but Florges. Even if Florges is not invested in any special defense, it still lives the hit with the Florges Surf anyway, so I decided to go for Scald. So yeah, with Scald I can also potentially burn mounts in his team if I do not care to set up, for now at least, for the first turn. Psychic for the Venusaur, Desnogleam for the Hydreigon, and Scald for everything else. Select Berry because like I said, I predicted to bring a Scarfer, but after the Select Berry I still outspeed any Scarfer on his team. So that's why I'm bringing this Select Berry with 325 speed, as that outspeeds Hydreigon guaranteed. I do not have Substitute, so I cannot pressure myself into the Select Berry, but I can, however, find out what type of mounts he has and how I can push myself into the Select Berry range if I desire so. So that's basically the win condition I had. Next up is Head Guy, the Miss Mages. It's the first time I bring Head Guy to the match. It's a Focus S Taunt Will-O-Wisp Desnogleam Shadow Ball user. My intention was to lead off with it and just taunt his Stealth Rockers and Will-O-Wisp Miss Mages Venusaur if he wants to have Venusaur as a first turn thing because the Mega. Also Desnogleam for the Hydreigon if it's not Scarfed, and if it is Scarfed then I find out, and if it goes to Drop Plus then I can Focus Sash, lift the hit, not get flinched, and Desnogleam for KO. Shadow Ball because it's Shadow Ball and hits everything but the Hydreigon for good damage. So that's basically the Head Guy, the set. Next up is Muselini, and Muselini is a Cobra Berry Taunt Roost knockoff Will-O-Wisp set. Pretty special defensive, some speed investment to outspeed stuff like his Speed Creepers, guaranteed, and his base 80 months in Gator and Shenlu if they are Modest/Adamant. So it's pretty self-explanatory. It's Taunt Roost knockoff Will-O-Wisp, so it's a Stallbreaker set. Taunt to just cripple his team, preventing him from, I don't know, heal belling, wishing up, setting up screens, setting up Toxicking me, Will-O-Wisping me, whatever he wants to do. Roost because, well, I want to keep being alive and I want to beat his team with Mew if I can at least. Knockoff because I can knock off his potential Scarfers and potential Lures. And Will-O-Wisp because Will-O-Wisp is nice residual, which he has no way of getting rid of as long as my Taunters or my setup mounts are on the field. Next up is Player of Short Stance knockoff Sucker Punch Absol, and it seems that the investment was fucked up. So that's unfortunate. That's most definitely unfortunate. I didn't notice until now, so it's most likely that I used this set. I don't know, that could have potentially been like that. It probably was. So that might have affected the game slightly. I used to be Ice Beam for the Gliscor, as Gliscor can beat, not necessarily beat my entire team, because it really can't, but it can beat Mew, and Mew can beat his entire team. So only the Toxic Orb Gliscor is a check, is a counter to my Mew set. So that's why I had the Ice Beam first on Absol, but I figured that the Feraligatr was a huge threat. So I actually decided not to go with the Ice Beam set and giving the Feraligatr a free opportunity. Of course I could have still gone with Ice Beam and I had, I don't know, like T-Wave or Will-O-Wisp on the set, but I severely suffered from the 4 move slot syndrome and decided to go with this set instead. If I wanted to damage the Gliscor, I could have done the +2 knockoff, if I so desired to, of course. And yeah, that's basically why I did it like this. Like everything on my team is built to not give Feraligatr a free setup opportunity, basically. This just KOs it with Fusion Bolt, especially after Stealth Rocks. This can Tail Glow up on him and he cannot go to it KO me, most likely. Head Guy is Will-O-Wisp, he's also Taunt and Will-O-Wisp and Focus Sash and, you know, shenaniganery. Muselini also Taunt Will-O-Wisp. Fepsol now with the Sword Stance will not be able to set up a B if I have the Sword Stance up, of course, that is. And Chupahada has the T-Wave to slow it down. So yeah, basically back to the Fepsol set. I don't remember what I was going to say about it, but Sucker Punch is really useful against his team. If he brings, he could have, in my eyes, potentially brought Agility Metagross, so that's what the Sucker Punch was really useful for. Also, this blocks Mega Bayonet from doing most of its shenanigans. Knockoff, of course, because knockoff is nice. Sword Stance, because Sword Stance is nice and play rough for the Hydreigon in case he is not scarfed, and I cannot speed it and KO it with the play rough. Basically, you might notice my team is really built around, or built for the Hydreigon, because Hydreigon is one of the few mons, at least possibly the only mon that really can mess up Kieran Black and can mess up Mew, which are huge problems to my opponent in this game. But yeah, last but not least is Chupahara, the Akaberry Cobalion. He had some special defense investment in case he wanted to bring a scarfed Rotom or a scarfed Chandelure, and I can basically take up the Fire Blasts slash Overheats from those, and I can KO them back, or T-Wave them back, or set up Stealth Rocks, or be annoying with Iron Head, Close Combat, I don't fucking know. I used to have Stone Heads on this set, but I changed it for Iron Head because I figured that if it was gonna be a set like that, then T-Wave was gonna do enough for me, and I could deal with his team accordingly. Also for the Hydreigon to take up a few of his hits better. Also didn't need more speed, and his attack is just enough to KO the Hydreigon from full if he's not running the don't remember the berry. Chopan Berry. But yeah, or if it was like fully defensive invested, of course. But yeah, that's basically the close combat for the Hydreigon, and yeah, that's basically set. It is walled by Gliscor, so yeah, that's something I have to look out for. But other than that, it's pretty fine. It's pretty nice to use against my opponent in this week's game. So there we go. His team, he brings Florges, Gliscor, Mega Bayonet, Rotom Heat, Hydreigon, and Metagross to the field. Mega Bayonet, like you could have seen in my preparation, was not something I prepared for at all, basically. I did have a check, a counter maybe even, unless he has superpower in Mega Absol. So it's nice that I have Mega Absol, so I do have some type of way of beating Mega Bayonet. But my team was basically prepared to deal with Mega Venusaur and not as much with this guy. But yeah, we'll see how I deal with that accordingly. I lead up with Mussolini as I just want to have this guy burned to limit his attack stat and limit his attack capabilities. As he smartly goes for Protect to activate his Prankster in the following turn. Also he scouts my moveset for Mew, so he knows that I am most definitely some type of, well, it could be offensive, but I'm more likely some type of defensive one. I just go for the Will-O-Wisp again because I noticed from his team that the only thing on his team that could beat me, could beat Mew at least, was the Hydreigon, and everything else I could beat. Unless this was a Specs or a Scarf, especially Scarf of course, Rotom, that could trick me. But instead of switching out, I predicted him to predict me to go for the switch into something to expect a trick, because I knew he likes to overpredict, or he like predicted him, scout for him to not be an offensive side at all, or not a trick. I ended up doing just the knockoff play, as he turned out to not be scarfed, and turned out to be the light screen set. Light screen set, I mean he has one screen I think. Not too sure to be honest, I don't think his third move is revealed this game. As he goes for Overheat, I can easily eat it up, and he goes for Volt Switch in the following turn, and I also eat it up. So I'm basically at full health. And his Rotom is weakened, and his Rotom is only switching to the Will-O-Wisp, and everything else on his team is just beaten. As you can see, like I said in the in the pre-talk, basically he likes to overpredict a lot, and he apparently doesn't know that I like to run berries on my sets, especially on Mew. But the Cover Berry is always really solid. So yeah, I just continuously go for the knockoff because I just want to slowly weaken this, and I can basically 6-0 his team with just Mew, unless he decides to go for the dark moves with the Hydreigon, which I predict him to do right here. And I switch into Chupahara, and from this damage I know that he's a scarfed one, or at least not a Specs or a Expert Belt, or well, it could be Expert Belt, but not a Draco Plate or whatever. So I think he's scarfed at this point, and I'd make a double switch out into Mega Absol, predicting his Gliscor, because Gliscor is of course just a counter to Cobalion, and I made a play because I want to prevent him from setting up Stealth Rocks. That's basically the whole idea. I had Ice Beam on the set like I said before, but yeah, in hindsight I could have left it that way, but if he did bring Feraligatr to the team, then I would have been in some slight issue. I could of course ran Will-O-Wisp or T-Wave or whatever on my Mega Absol, but I have kind of the 5 or 6 move slot syndrome with the Mega Absol at this point, so that's why I decided to go just for the knockoff, as I noticed he didn't have a Toxicroak, and that either meant that he was predicting me to bring a Toxicmon and switch into Toxic to get a lot of health back in each turn, or he was the default set, and most likely the second one, as he just goes for the EQ on the knockoff, just damaging me, predicting him to not set up Stealth at that turn. I switch into Muselini, and because I'm speed infested, I can just outspeed and taunt him, which is likely him speed keeping a normal moveset, or at least the 100 speed Mew. But yeah, I prevent him from getting Stealth Rocks. I could have also switched into Mega Absol, of course, bouncing back his Stealth Rocks, but I didn't know what kind of play he was going to make. If he wanted to go for the Toxic, predicting that, then he would have gone the Toxic heal, which I was considering at that point. So, and I go again into Mew because Mew just again beats his whole team, and I can just Will-O-Wisp the Gliscor and residually take him down in the process. As he goes for the Volt Switch for the Random Heat after I predicted him to stay in and went for the taunt. And he was going into Hydreigon again, and at this point it wasn't actually my prediction for him to I didn't predict him to predict me. I was actually predicting him to go for the Dark Pulse, as I think that would have been his best play, because he could have slowly weakened my Cobalion, as he did have a counter in Gliscor which was at full health, so I figured he would just go for the Dark Pulse. I think that was his better play, but I just went for the knockoff knowing that he was a Scarfed one, and I wanted to get the Scarf off of him, so my Manaphy didn't need a Select Berry to outspeed and KO him, or my Mega Absol could have played off him, and my Mace Mages could have Dazzling Gleamed him to death. So yeah, that's basically as it is. He brings back in the Rotom Heat, and I can just still beat it one-on-one, unless, although it is only Will-O-Wisp switching, I do still beat it one-on-one. And as he decides to make a play again, he predicts me to make the same prediction like I did before, switching in the Cobalion on a predicted Dark Pulse, and I still stayed in. Not necessarily a prediction on my end, I just expected him to go for the Dark Pulse basically again, but because I'm Cover Berry, I just knew I would have been able to eat up the hits and just fire up a knockoff and knock off his Choice Scarf like I did right there. Go into Cobalion right here because I know he's gonna go for the Dark Pulse, or more unlikely, or go for a huge hit. And I want to keep Mew at a decent amount of health so I can beat the rest of his team. Because like I said, only this thing is the biggest threat to my team, that at least to the Mew set. So switching Cobalion, he predicts that nicely as he drops a Draco, as I predicted to switch out here into his Gliscor, and I figured that Stealth Rock was the best play in my on my end. It most definitely wasn't in hindsight, because I could have slowly weakened / whittled down this Rotom, or even with Cure I could have KO'd it straight up. But yeah, I wanted to prevent him from outplaying me by switching in Gliscor and setting up for him these Stealth Rocks. Of course I could have switched into Mega Absol, which wasn't that good at this point anymore, but I wanted to use it for the Metagross in case Metagross could have been a problem with like an agility set. But yeah, he outplays me and he goes for Earth Power next turn. I do have Aqua Berry, so if he went for the Fire Blast, then I would have been able to live it, but he nicely has the Earth Power instead of the Flamethrowers' Fire Blast to deal with Cobalion. So yeah, now this is the point where I mentioned, like in the beginning of the video, where my slightly under-influenced self was losing track of my win condition. Even though he didn't bring his Mega Venusaur, I still could have won with this guy pretty easily, because nothing on his team is a potential Scarfer except for Metagross, but if Metagross is his Scarfer, then I am not feeling it as much. And also I could have scouted for it really easily, but I saw a -2 Hydreigon, and I figured this was one of the better times to set up a Tilgo. Not necessarily a bad play, of course, on my end, but this was a win condition I could have sweat up the team with, and I didn't have to lose more mods in the process, because as you will see in the following turns, Menifee is gonna get taken down. Apologies, of course, sorry. But Menifee is gonna get taken down by the Mega Bayonet after I killed this Metagross. He turns out not to be scarfed, not to be a trick set or whatever he could have fucked me up with. Basically, I could have set up to +6, but I was fearing him to do a play like that. Just that wouldn't make sense in my book, but would have ruined my days. And basically, I knew he was gonna have the Thunder Punch. That's why I switched him, or he would have been, yeah, like I said, some crazy type of scarfed one. But yeah, I just called it. If I get a burn, it would be really nice, because I would have been able to set it to +6. And I would have been able to deal with the remainder of his team, except for Floaty, but it could have hit me up with a Moonblast, but it would have left me in range of a Salakberry. And if the Floaties did die, if it was like an offensive Floaties, then I would have been not in Salakberry range, but it wouldn't have been necessary because I would spend anything on his team regardless. So he goes for the Thunder Punch, I do get the Salakberry range, and I do take down the Malcolm, the Metagross, because I didn't burn him my first turn. And he brings in Mega Bayonet, and this is basically like I could have swept his whole team if he wasn't if he brought Mega Venusaur instead of Mega Bayonet, but Mega Bayonet is the threat and gets his Shadow Sneak up and kills me in the following turn. Here, Mega Absol is the counter to Mega Bayonet. It really is a counter. But I do not switch in Mega Absol, and that's because I do not want to lure out the Floaties, and I do not want to lure out the Gliscor, which both beat my Mega Absol. So that's why I go to Head Guy Demon's Mages. I am seshed, so I do not fear him taking me down in one hit. So yeah, I can just fire up a Shadow Ball. Also, this, if anything, it lures out Floaties, but Floaties cannot do his wish or Heal Bell shenanigans on me, and I can just Will-O-Wisp it, taunt it, and whatever. Or he brings out the Hydreigon on me, and I can Dazzling Gleam up to kill it. But he turns out to go for the Destiny Bound. Unluckily for me and unfortunately for him, this Mages is not strong enough to take him down. So so he lives, and this basically the next turn is a 50-50. If he goes for the Destiny Bound again and I go for the Will-O-Wisp, I can basically outstall him. If he goes for the Shadow Sneak or just not the Destiny Bound, and I go for the Shadow Claw, predicting him to predict me to not attack him, then I take him down. And as you will see, this turn works out in my favor. He gets the crit, doesn't matter. It would have knocked me down into Focus Sash range, but I have the Focus Sash, so the crit doesn't matter at all. And I go for the Shadow Ball, predicting him to not go for the another what's it called, Destiny Bolt. Next up he brings in Hydreigon, not expecting me to carry Dazzling Gleam, so luckily Hydreigon is gone now. And like I said, Hydreigon was the only thing on this team that really stopped me from spamming Kyurem or Mew. So yeah, last but not least, Sakura gets in on the field, because it was a good play on his end, not bring any of the other two in, because Sakura on here in here is the only thing that prevents me from preserving the 4-0 instead of a 3-0, because Sakura over here goes for the Moonblast taking me down, as I couldn't switch in my Kyurem on his Moonblast. Just burn him for some residual, and as you can see he has the leftovers, so I know Kyurem Black can take him down at this range. And if not, then I know I can take one Moonblast. Definitely it does like a little bit over 50% I think, maybe over 60, but that's fine. So it's basically from this point on I can clean up with Kyurem Black, and also the Rotom Heat dies to the Earth Power, of course, which is quite effective. So that's a good game to the Red Gem, to the trainer, the leader, the manager of the Phoenix Solrocks. Like I said, my win condition, I didn't play it as I wanted to. Yeah, somehow I lost track of my win condition, and I lost track of like a long-term way of dealing with this team. So not my best game, I don't think. I did play to the point where I won, of course, so that's nice. So of course I'm happy with the result, but yeah, next week I hopefully I'm not as much under intense alcohol, and I can play a little bit better and a little bit smarter sometimes from time to time. So yeah, I'll quickly show you where I am on the fixtures and the league table and whatever. So be right back, 1 sec. Unfortunately, as you can see, I dropped a rank. From the first place I went to second place now because I won only 3-0 instead of a 4-0 or a 5-0 or a 6-0. As usually, Ear won his game 5-0 against his opponent in 3. I'm assuming you all watched his game at this point because since I'm late with the upload. So if you haven't, check him out because he's doing pretty well in the Division A as it is, and so is Sasha, which last season, the first 2 weeks, he was 0-3, now he's 3-0, so yeah, basically simple as that. So I'm nicely sitting in second with 3 wins, 0 losses, and yeah, next week I'm facing Lars, the Borussia Dortmund fan, so depending on how much Ear wins, I will hopefully get first. I think I might be able to 6-0 him, so if Ear wins 6-0 himself, then I won't be first, but if he wins 5-0, then it'll be shared first place. And if he wins 4-0 or less, then I will be solely in first place again. And quickly to the MVP table. It's Clefable right now with 11 kills and 10 deaths from the Bang & Wash. And on my team there's just Tangrowth with 4-0 from the Week 2 game. And now Kieran Black with 3-0, sitting at a nice 10th spot, last in the MVP race, of course. But yeah, so nothing that extremely going for the MVP race. Usually, like last season, I had I think 4 months in the top 12 at the end of the season, so I'm probably gonna go do something like that again. Not intentionally, of course, but I just do not care for being the guy with the man with the most kills or whatever. So basically, that's all for now. Actually, not really. There's one heads up, and you might have I probably decided to not show it, but these 2 months, Cofagrigus and Gramble are new additions to the Cambuur Zygarden. Unfortunately, Mawa, Blowjob Queen, dropped, and Miss Mages, the guy that performed pretty well in this match, 2 kills, 1 death, also dropped. And sadly, Russia, the Carfish, was banned, so also dropped without even performing in 1 game. So yeah, decided to pick up the Cofagrigus and the Gramble. Gramble is really solid. It's finally the fairy type I need. I do have I did make some kind of deal with Sasha for using his Gramble, since he didn't want to let go of Gramble at first, which is understandably. But I arranged a deal with him, so Gramble is on my team now. And also the Cofagrigus, although Miss Mages is a really good pick and I would pick him any day, it doesn't fit as well on my team as Cofagrigus does. I really have enough mons that perform the same roles as Miss Mages does, so I really wanted Cofagrigus instead. In the original draft plan I had Cofagrigus, and finally Christian, the coach of the New Jersey Champions, allowed Cofagrigus to be on my team instead of on his, so I'm the happy owner of a Cofagrigus now on my team, so I expect Cofagrigus to do a lot of work in the upcoming matches.